And I know we got a lot of guests, so we're gonna take care of business, and then we'll obviously have time for everybody to have input, because, this is an open meeting. So we'll get started with our agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
I like that motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Glenn, seconded from Commissioner Stout. Anyone want to speak to that? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then next is the reading of the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written and dispense with the reading of the minutes.
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Owens, second from Commissioner Stout. Anyone want to speak to that?
Yes, I would like to thank Scott for doing such a great job on the minutes.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Good
That
job.
was it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And also, let us know if we need to slow down, Scott.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll do that.
So we'll go ahead and go into our agenda. We'll start with the health department. Sandra.
In April, the health department completed 67 vaccines, as you'll see on, actually, I think it's not in the correct order, but it's on the third page. And then 2,548 visits to 2,253 clients during the month. And then, as they were talking, we are having our groundbreaking / ribbon cutting. I'm not really sure what it's called. At the new location on the 12th, on Monday, from 11:30 to 1. Guys can come.
It's the blue ribbon. Right?
It's
They're gonna
what?
cut the blue ribbon. Is it with the chamber?
I think they're bringing a red ribbon. We can't really break ground, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We didn't really know, so.
Well, there's probably dirt in the bottom until we pave it out there.
Yeah.
You probably get
We
one.
could bring some dirt. We could probably stick it in the concrete.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be dug up anyway.
I noticed the COVID and the flu vaccines are about just
Yeah.
gone away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Very
just not the
small.
season for it.
Not the season for sure for flu. I feel like COVID has a season every little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion to approve the report.
I'll second it. So we have a motion from Mr. Owens, second from me. Anyone want to speak to that? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
All right.
See you Monday.
I will try to be there.
Okay.
All right, we will go to the animal control. You going to present, Jeff?
Yep, for the month of April, on May the 1st, the census was 3 cats and 66 dogs. For the month intakes, we had 1 cat and 16 dogs for a total of 17 animals. Adoptions, we adopted out a total of 4, 2 cats and 2 dogs. We had 1 return to owner, and we had 1 cat that died in the shelter. We had a total of 6 road calls, 225 telephone calls, monetary $165 in donations, and then down at the bottom in the notes sections, it's listed. We had puppy food, cat chow, cat treats, litter boxes, 2 dog beds that were donated to the shelter. And then that's the summary sheet. All the data for the summary is attached behind.
Still 69, it's just 2 cats and 67 dogs.
As of today, like I said earlier, 67 dogs and 2 cats. And this was as of today at 11:18 a.m.
Something we failed to talk about last meeting was whether or not to extend the free adoptions. And I mean, looking at the adoptions ever since we started that program in December, other than December, the adoptions have went down. So it doesn't make sense, I guess, because we have free adoptions and the adoptions are actually going down. So I don't know, in other words, if it's actually helped
I,
that month.
I just feel like only April is not, 2, that's significantly less. 8, 7, 6, at least, you're emptying some of the kennels.
And we don't have any this month already. None, no adoption.
Do you think it's an advertising issue?
Well, whenever it's appeared in the newspapers before, it's seemed to spur things along.
Yeah, I think that would help. And then, which I'd like to talk about the website at one point, but is it on the website?
The website's up and running right now.
Yeah, it's the free adoptions. Like, is it highlighted on it?
We're not adoptions.
We can't do free
adoptions. We stopped.
Oh, hey, Jason. I didn't see you there. What'd you say?
I said we've not had an adoption since we stopped the free stuff, right?
Oh, I thought we
No.
just carried it on until this
No,
meeting.
no, it expired.
Oh, okay. Because I knew we didn't vote on it, so I just thought it would carry over. I apologize. So we only adopted out 2 in April. So that was basically, okay.
Yeah, so April 18th was stopped. So we adopted 2 out, I guess, up until the 18th.
Yeah. 2 cats and 2 dogs total for the month of April.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to y'all what y'all want to do about it. I don't know that it's helping or hurting. I mean, I don't have a problem with continuing.
What was our average? I know you wrote down here October, but like before we started doing the.
I came on board at the end of September. So that's the data you're seeing is just stuff that I created.
It's always fluctuated, but it's just, I don't know. I just don't remember a trend downward like this before, especially we weren't giving them away. I've never seen a downward trend like that. You'd think it'd be the other way. If you're giving them away, the trend would go up. But I don't know. Doesn't make good sense, I guess. But I don't know what the committee wants to do about it. I know Jeff had said some of them had missed their appointments to get their animals fixed.
Yeah, I was talking earlier about we had last week 3 no-shows. They had scheduled vet appointments, and we had adopted them out. And they were instructed, and they were called and gave the appointment date, but yet they didn't show up.
I think if you look at this 100 days or more, you'll probably notice that regardless of whether we paid to adopt or they were paid adoptions or free adoptions, those dogs remain. They've been there, whether they were free or otherwise, they've been there for hundreds of days. They're just maybe not necessarily the dog that somebody's looking for. Jeff can speak a little bit more to some of the rescues. They've reached out with 14, I believe, said different rescues to try to mitigate some of these that's been down there, at least 300 plus days.
Right, and we've got we've got 5 responses back. Most of them want pictures before they even talk to us.
Right.
So we had a photographer in today taking photographs, and we started with the animals that had been in the shelter the longest. And one shelter agreed to take any and all puppies and any animals under 20 pounds. Got one shelter here all about rescues and fixing. They said they rarely have openings right now because it's just, they're overwhelmed with, animals like everybody else.
Well, while we're
does.
sitting here, they're making babies.
Well, what about the one that would take 20 pounds or less, or the puppies?
It's a paw and a prayer dog rescue.
Where is that located?
I don't have that information right in front of me. We just made a list of the rescue names that we've contacted and their response back to us right now.
I was just wondering what the transportation would look like.
Yeah.
And how many animals do we have that fit that criteria?
Right now we have, probably 8.
When did you hear back from them?
You
Today?
No, it was sometime this week. I'll just have to go back. We've got all their email responses here. I
I
just have to
think
go
I'd
back
be
through.
calling them
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Those eight
You
are
said-
But those 8 are not weaned from their mother yet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're pups, so.
Okay, we don't have any that are under 20 pounds besides the puppies,
Did you say,
but we could schedule them to go.
did you say, paw and a prayer rescue?
Yes, a paw and a prayer dog rescue.
Right, we're out of Chattanooga.
Yep, that's the one that will take dogs, under 20 pounds and puppies
So, but they won't be able to take any because we don't have any. Is that-
until the 8 pups we've got are weaned off their mom, so.
What would be a time frame on that?
They are about 2.5 weeks old, I think, is what we have on record, so.
Another month?
Yeah.
If you could try to schedule that for, a month from
Right,
now.
right.
But how would we transport?
We would just have to work that out with them, you know.
Don't we use volunteers for transporting or?
Yeah, well, especially with ours, used to, we would take a van load.
Yeah.
30, 40 animals at a time up there, and they would be volunteers that would help carry them as well. Then a few years back, when they did that on a regular basis, but ours used to be one of our biggest ones.
I'm not on the committee, but I can drive and come up to Chattanooga.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's something I wanted to bring up to the committee. I think that it might be a situation where if we attached a little money to help rehome these dogs, to reach out to these rescues, but I probably need the committee's approval to do something like that, maybe $150 or $200 if that's what it took.
Per animal or?
Well, yeah, per animal, because you're spending that, if it stays there 10 days, you're spending $100.
What are you saying? Pay the rescue?
Hey, basically, they got expenses to get these dogs, or to get them there, whatever we need to use it for,
Mhm.
to make that dog go to the rescue, because we've got to try to do something to move the dogs out.
Yeah.
They're running off donations.
They're running off donations too, so that would help them on the other end too.
Little incentive.
Little
for them.
incentive. And you're spending the money anyway,
Yeah.
by the days they're there.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
No, I think that's a good idea, actually. I didn't think about that.
Justin really wanted me to get a motion from the committee if y'all are interested in doing that.
I'll make that motion.
All
Okay.
right, so,
What was the motion?
what are you gonna do?
I'd probably think $150 or something, rehoming fee. It's to help with the expenses of doing that.
Is that per dog?
Yeah, that would be per dog.
Well, we might wanna do a time frame too, just to see.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's-
it'll be sick.
How long you'll do it for? A month or 2 months or what?
Let's go 2 months.
2 months? So that's your motion?
Yeah, that's my motion.
You may take a month to get the
Yeah,
logistics.
it'd take a month to
I
even
did
get
3
them.
months.
So you made the motion.
Hey, Blaine, it'll take a month to get.
A rehoming fee, when you state that to a rescue, that would be, if I'm trying to rehome a dog, you would pay me the $150. So if you tell them you're gonna give them a rehoming fee, you might wanna state that as a donation fee and not that you're
Yeah.
gonna charge them.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So that $150 is to go to the rescue,
$150
right?
as a
Donation.
donation
Donation.
per annum.
yeah, per animal to the rescue, yeah.
I don't know.
And to the emails that were sent to all the rescues, the animal would be spayed and neutered and be up to date on all of its shots and everything through our vets.
I don't see any negatives to it, except the only thing that scares me, and that's why I don't wanna go real long, is what if? It's almost like paying them to peddle an animal to somebody. And I'm not saying they do that, but I'm just saying it might cause them to hurry up and home it, and it might not be the best situation. I don't know.
You'd have to vet your rescue.
I was about to say, it needs to have a good reputation.
Yeah, but I mean,
We tried.
a couple months, that gives us a lot of time to see what it's gonna do. So who seconded it?
I did.
Philip seconded that. Anyone else? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I would like to, going back to the waiving the adoption fee. I'm in support of waiving it again. I do feel like the numbers were up when we were waiving them, and I know that you see a decrease, but I still feel like those numbers are better than what we was paying last
Yeah, I mean,
month.
yeah, it isn't what I was hoping for, but I mean, our population basically still flatlined.
I mean, 66, I don't even know how we have that in there, 67.
So,
I don't even know how we have that
I
in
know.
the shelter. I was gonna ask that as well. How are we even housing them before we get there?
Well, we've had over 100.
Gee. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion, to extend the waiving the adoption fee. Are y'all back? It's for the next month.
Well, let's put a date that way, because we let it expire last time. So,
I do want to tell you one thing. We're just getting this website up and running, and for us to go back on there and put we're charging, then to go back on there and say we're free, and where a lot of people may not be looking at it that often. So I think it ought to be a longer period of time to where we've got some. You got to give things time to work.
Well, I'm not willing to do it for more than 3 months.
well, how about go to July the 10th, which would be 2 months, and we'd be able to have a meeting by that point before it expires.
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
And if you advertise it right, like we helped,
Yeah.
I did some in my newsletter, and then, with Main Street Live coming back, we, did a collective, we had some photos of dogs, and between me and Jonathan Womack, we made a layout, and they put that in at the end of every Main Street Live, and she brought her dog on it at the time she was fostering, and then she eventually adopted, Jennifer did. Just a thought.
Anytime that you guys voted to waive that fee and Rob Nunley was here, the following paper, he always wrote a good article up for the shelter. Rob was really good. And like I said earlier, if he wasn't able to attend the meeting, I would always drop him a report off at the Standard,
Yeah.
because he supported us.
So my motion will be until July 10th.
July 10th.
Yes.
I'll second it. Anyone want to speak to that? Not, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? I want to say something before I forget, because I don't want you to think I'm leaving mad in case something happens. I got to leave at 15 till 8 because my daughter's kindergarten class is graduating. I got to go see it. So anyway, I'll just in case we get up and we're still in discussions, I'll already arrange it with Casey.
Can I mention one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got an email from Jackie at the Warren County Chamber of Commerce, and June the 20th, they're going to be holding their second annual Raising the Wolf event. And they've asked us to bring some animals up for adoption, and we've already responded back to her and said that we'd be more than happy, and we will be there with some animals. So
When is that?
June the 20th, Friday, June the 20th. So just thought I'd bring that up. That's the email that we got.
What time is it?
It looks like it's an all-day event because this is just a preliminary email. She was going to get back later on with more details, but the event will be on Friday, June the 20th. So
Also, before I forget, I don't think we made a motion to accept this report.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
Commissioner Owens made the motion. Glenn seconded it. Anyone want to speak to that? No, all in favor, say aye. Building update.
We're kind of hung at a standstill. We're actually over budget on trying to even get the roof built. The bids are coming in ridiculous. Not even anywhere close to what we're still trying to work through issues, trying to make that work.
How many bids did you get?
We got 3 bids in. One guy bid, he didn't realize he had to set the trusses. I don't know why that. One bid come in $50,000 higher than it was last time, even though we cut materials. put them up a different way. And the cheapest bid we got was $169,000. Just to put the roof on.
How do you get the bids between?
But,
How do y'all get the bids?
we have to publicly advertise them,
Okay.
because we have to put it out for bid.
I was thinking you done that last month. We talked about it, I think.
We've done it twice.
Yeah, but we've done it
we've
again.
Twice. We've done it twice. It looks like there could be a possibility that we wind up and have to set the trusses in-house.
Who does that? You
Everybody in this room.
know? Not I.
Yeah,
That's plain, he doesn't have a tech review.
yeah, he doesn't have
Well,
that.
circle wagons
We
and
are
everything.
we are looking at that issue about buying the trusses, actually hiring the crane and actually setting them ourselves.
How long, so your.
And that comes in, if we do that,
contract
that comes in
now.
under,
Yes.
which leaves us money to do the interior.
When will we know about that then?
What?
We're gonna do that.
That we will. We've got one more person we're gonna call and contact. We waited on, we had a guy come, we thought he was going, actually, he let on like, if we bought the materials, he would be a little bit cheaper, but he come in $150,000 just for labor,
Just for the light.
just for the labor. And
Where's he from?
it's just nearly impossible to get construction done these days.
So you plan on calling one more person?
Yes.
I mean,
And if that don't work, we're gonna actually call and buy, we can buy the trusses. I've done call and got a price on the truss, the pre-engineered trusses, by an engineer, are only gonna run about $15,000 for the whole building. The lathing will only run about $6,000. And of course, the guy from Mount Juliet agreed to put the metal on. His bid last time was $50,000 to furnish the metal and put it on,
Just the metal only.
just the metal on.
Don't bring it up.
Because I don't know how he got out of the bid that he wasn't supposed to put the trusses in. I don't know how.
But even if we go that route, what did we say? If we can get under, if we can get it 100.
If we can get under
We're
100,000,
in budget then, and we still have money to do the
we
interior.
still have money to do the interior, and then we'll be able to turn it on cheaper. To do some of that stuff.
So what's our time frame we're looking at roughly? Got any idea? Just roughly.
Well, I mean, TCAT's gonna do the wiring and actually do the block laying inside and everything. We still possibly looking at this fall.
So is the roof gonna have to be rebid then?
It either be rebid or we've got to work it some way to fall in the red tape that is involved in government. Because anything, I can't buy anything over $25,000 without putting it out for bids. And all the bids I'm getting in are coming in way over the money we got budgeted, so I have to come back then, which would require me coming to the county court before I could accept that bid and ask for more money to make that work. Then you would have to come back and add more money to even finish it on top of that. So,
Once we bid it out twice and not got a price that we can live with, it does let us have a little bit more
a little more
flexibility.
flexibility about what.
As far as piecemealing this project together, and just the way things turned out from when we started this whole deal, now we're building $1 million building and trying to squeeze in $400,000.
That's where this thing kind of, TCAT didn't realize we were building as huge a building as what we're building, because Coffee County's building this same building and it's 2.4 million.
Of course, they're not using any, the TCAT
They
school.
didn't get any
They
walls
didn't
on
get
it.
any walls.
They didn't get
They-
anything,
no.
but it's 2.4 million. So what they're,
Even
as
with
a matter of fact, they're not gonna get done for 2.4. That's what they started out at. And they're having to put more money in to get this building big.
Well, I don't know if they would even do it now. I could ask them, but especially since we hadn't funded them the last 2 years, but Habitat, boy, that'd be a great situation. A lot of those people that they could show up and make some, they can make some progress fast.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, that's where that crane's at. That one that we're,
Basically, one day you can set
Yeah.
those trusses. I mean, Justin's done some construction work. I've done some. Cole Miller, and of course we've got Mathis that's actually worked for a roofing company. But it would just be us setting the trusses and doing the lathing. It wouldn't be the whole
Yeah.
thing.
So what's gonna cost us in the end roughly? How much, we're gonna be over the budget, right?
not if we can.
Not if we can pull off the roof. If we can pull off this roof, that's
That's it, okay.
it.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
There's
Well-
a guy, I'm sorry.
Habitat will be starting up pretty soon. Who knows? I might talk to them.
Might talk to them. I mean, we'll take anybody that anybody knows. Send it to us.
I'll send you our guys.
I mentioned this to Jason, when I was purchasing manager at Erosu, I used a company called JP Industries, which is a Mennonite.
Yeah.
And they did work for me at Erosu, everything from laundry and gloves to building mezzanines and everything else.
See,
And-
that's another there's another caveat in there. If we don't do it actually kind of in-house, I've got Cole Miller, which is the codes inspector, which gets us by without having to have a
Right.
contractor's license.
Right.
Anybody else I put out there has to have a contractor's
Okay.
license.
These guys may have it because I used to send engineered CAD drawings to the Mennonite church. They have their own group that monitors emails and CAD work, like on Mastercam and stuff. And so they're,
They've got the technology.
they've got the technology, and it may be a situation I could contact them because they would bring whole crews into Erosu and scrap conveyors underneath the presses and rebuild, weld, build anything. They put a roof on my house and my garage and my carport in less than a day and a half. They just bring a crew in and just jump on it. And it may be a situation where they might, with us furnishing the material and stuff, they may come in and just bid the labor stuff.
And that's what we'd love.
But they're out of Sparta, Tennessee.
Sparta.
Yeah, but they did a tremendous amount of work for us. They're insured and bonded and everything. For them to do work for Erosu, they had to carry, $1 million liability insurance and stuff. But
They've done those projects on their own.
yeah,
They probably have a contractor license.
Yeah.
They've
They
had-
meant to make.
we
If they had somebody that oversees
would
things
provide them
like
drawings of
somebody's
what they did, what we wanted, and they would just come in during like summer shutdowns and Christmas and just do the whole project. So
Are they gonna be? Go ahead.
So over the next month, you might have a
Yeah.
update for it.
Hopefully we'll be doing something with them next month.
Be nice if we could find somebody to donate those trusses.
Are they,
Yeah, no, that would be great too. We'll take all the help we can get.
are they metal trusses?
No, they're wood. They gotta be 2/8 because the building's so big, it's 60-foot span.
And they gotta be stamped by an engineer too.
Yeah, they gotta be
It's a little
stamped by an
tough on them
engineer.
Because of the span.
There's a company in Murfreesboro, Husky, right there on Rutherford Boulevard. Like if you're going toward Church Street from John Bragg,
I mean, Haynes?
Haynes,
no,
No.
Husky,
Yeah.
they're on the left, just before you go up over the viaduct.
Okay.
I mean, Watson's Metal School, that's who I called about to get the price on them. They're less than $500 a piece for the trusses.
Yeah.
It's not the cost of the product, it's the labor.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so tough to go ahead
And the transport, because they know that's on-site delivery in that price.
Yeah, you gotta have a crane sitting there and be ready to roll.
Well, we have to get the crane on our own, but we've had some HVAC work done, and those folks in Cookville put us under their crane. Personally contract with.
They're so big, most of the time they set them with a skid steer stuff, but the 60-foot is
We'll have to have
tap that crane.
a crane.
Yeah.
But that's price was $1,500 for the day.
That's 3 times.
No, it wasn't. Might have been 2,000.
Oh.
It wasn't considering that size of crane and having it. If you've got it prepped and the plates on the top of the walls and you're ready to
Right.
put them in, 26 trusses, that can be done. Rent that crane for just one day to do it.
All right, we'll check on that. I'll check on some stuff on the side, but, what about the truck? Anything happening with that?
That insert is ordered. So it's a few weeks, and then when it comes in, we'll schedule whatever their schedule is. We'll take the truck down there and leave it for 3 days. But when it's done, it'll be fully wired, air conditioned, lit, whole 9 yards. So it'll be nice. And it's fully fiberglass, so we don't, that one we got down there that sits on the ground was given to us. We had to have like a 3/4 ton truck to be, it was so heavy. This is fully fiberglass, washable, sprayed out, and it's got some storage in it as well, like catch poles and things of that nature. So it is ordered.
The questions I've been getting asked here lately, and I don't know the answers day to day, is the staff and the hours. What are the current hours right now?
since Brandy decided to resign, I have changed the hours and we're open 5 days a week from 8 to 4, just like everybody else. Because it gets hard to get people to work. And Jeff's got some data. Did you have them that data on the Saturday adoptions?
No, I've got.
There's quite low. Too big.
They're,
Open the whole
they're
way.
really low, except for
Compared to the other days.
compared to the other days. And with the website coming online, I've talked to the staff on there, and there's got to be somebody down there. So if somebody actually wants to come pick up a dog or wants to look at a dog on Saturday, they just need to make an appointment. That's what they need to do to make that work. And Jeff's working down there, and Megan and Shelby Smart.
Who's Megan?
Well,
Sorry, that was just a new name. So.
she's in all of them. All of them.
I think our last name's Latrobe.
The road.
Yeah.
Red hours.
And both of them are
Yeah,
part time.
Reto, so.
No,
No.
Shelby's full,
Shelby is full time,
and she is part.
so she's working Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
Well, he's got
Yeah.
you can't actually do an 8 through 4 just straight schedule because somebody's got playing on Saturdays and Sundays. So it has to bounce around
Okay.
or you get way over the 40 hours.
I didn't know if the part time person was maybe working on weekends or
There,
something.
one's working one day and one's working the other. Right?
Jeff's working
Jeff
out a
has a schedule.
schedule. He's got a schedule.
I work Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Shelby full-time works Monday through Friday. And then on the days that I'm off, Megan works on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And then we have Dallas Neal that's going to be working on Sundays.
Who's been working on Sundays?
I worked this past Sunday. And
Who's cleaning the kennels?
inmates. I had two male inmates at the shelter Sunday.
Okay. So we do have the inmates coming in
Yes, ma'am.
like normal.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And we work 5 hours Sunday.
So how many hours is Megan getting as a part time?
I believe it's 24.
Yep, 24. I'm sorry. On Wednesday, Terry wanted to set aside one day to do road calls, specifically for road calls. So Megan works, I wish I had the schedule in front of me. She works on the days that I'm off. She works a half a day on Wednesday and then on Saturday for 4 hours. So the most that we have any time are 2.5 heads is what I call it on Wednesday.
What about with upcoming, with y'all not being open on Saturdays? I feel like the weather's starting to get nicer. You might have more volunteers coming in wanting to walk the
They
dog.
stopped the volunteers. That's the problem. They stopped the volunteers. I quit last Thursday because I was told that if the inmates come down there to volunteer, that it was either my job or for me to tell them to leave. And if I didn't tell them to leave, to call the law on them. Absolutely not will I do that. They've served their time. I begged for help for months. How many times did I message you, Jason Hillis, and ask you to please get me some help?
You got help when you quit, huh?
No, Jason. How long did I pull?
I know.
How many days did I pull?
I know that.
20-something days, 30-something days,
Y'all hired,
40.
y'all hired 2 people within a week.
2 people.
Within a week, and she has worked 40-something days straight. I don't know how long. He finally let her have 2 days off. Then she had to
And I
work.
worked on the Wednesday to transport a dog to rescue in Murfreesboro. I'm keeping my mouth shut. I don't have to. I will not bow to you, and I will not bow to you or you. If anybody wants to know who was going to get certified to euthanize, it's him. Then they wanted me to take the heat on it. This man here does not even handle the dogs. And he's going to put one down? Hell no. That's wrong. That's wrong in all kinds of ways. I'm sorry, but that's a joke. He can get every bit of his work done in one day. He sits there and holds a chair down with a body cam. Does he go out in them kennels and work? Absolutely not. Does he feed them animals? Absolutely not. Tell him to put you one on the leash and bring it to you. Now you tell me how somebody like him is going to euthanize? How's he going to bring you that dog? Because he can't.
He won't walk anyone through the kennel.
I'm sorry, but I just pulled 45 days straight.
No help.
No help whatsoever. Except my inmates. And then they get slammed. I got a letter from Jackie Matheny. I don't care. He's not my problem. They're humans just like you're a human, you're a human, you're a human. And they're saying that it's a year before they can come down there. Them girls saved my hind end a whole lot because guess what? It was just me.
And at the end of the day, who's suffering? The dogs.
It's the dogs.
It's the dogs. It's about the dogs. It's a shelter.
So what's the drama? It's what his old pansy ass wanted to say.
Right, now, calm down.
That's enough. That's it.
Oh,
That's
let me guess. You want him upheld. Nobody's gonna say nothing about Jeff.
You can just don't curse him.
Yeah, let's.
I have a question. When Brandy was out sick with COVID, I went to the shelter. Jeff was there taking care of the inmates had just left. He told me the inmates had just left. So I go in the cat room, because Terry Bell can tell you that I brought cats in front of him and showed him what a wolf warren was, rather closer than he wanted. But when I went into the cat room, there's a 12-year-old cat standing in a kennel that had a 1/4 inch of urine and feces. He had fresh food and he had fresh water. When I asked about why it was not cleaned, he was told to only feed him water. There were 9 empty kennels. If they didn't want to clean it, they could have moved them into a clean kennel. I did it, but as I was referenced as Brandy's buddy, I've been coming to the shelter for more than 5 years. I knew the former staff. I've fostered dogs. I've adopted dogs. I've taken the animals out of the shelter that were sick. That way, nobody's gonna walk in there and see a sick animal. I take it home, foster it. I pay the vet bills. It's not on county, even though it's a county animal. But it said something that because I hang out on Thursday when Terry was coming down for his meeting, they had a mama dog and 10 puppies come in. When I first got there was a volunteer that had a dog. She was sitting up front. I went to pet the dog. The dog had ticks on it. I sat there and pulled off ticks from that dog. Then I went up to see the mama and the puppies. The mama, I pulled over 100 ticks off that dog. This is what I do when I go up there. While the employees are doing things, the inmates are doing things, office personnel is doing things, I'm doing stuff with the animals that they can't get to. I've watched Brandy clean kennels, unclog drains. I've watched Jeff come back and say, hey, there's somebody that wants to see dogs. Just told them to walk them through. That's not done. He did clean the front parking area very nicely. But as far as the dog kennels, that day that the cat kennels were nasty and Brandy wasn't in there, they were nasty. There's 4 and 5 bowls left in the kennels. There's dog feces left in the kennels. You're spraying toxic chemical in there. The kittens, as you all know, I will take a kitten, walk out. If it's sick, I walk out. Like the one when you fired Lisa Morton. I came back the following Saturday. It needed to go to a vet. I took it. There were 2 kittens there when I went that Thursday. They were fine. by the time Brandy returned to work, one of those kittens was near death. And the other one she called a former inmate who has a grooming business, who has been volunteering, clipping nails, doing sanitary cuts, making these animals look better and more presentable. And why is it, why are we not taking cats now? It's the middle of kitten season. There's 2 cats in that building.
No, we're not taking cats.
I had a phone call today, a gentleman wanted to surrender 4 kittens, and I told him to bring them on. And he said he'd probably be in tomorrow with them. We take, as long as the cat is not feral, we take them in. Now, we don't go out and trap cats, but we take surrenders. Even in residents in the city limits, we take cats, as long as they're not feral.
Okay, then last month there, because it was posted on Chatter, there was a kitten that needed to be bottle fed. They called the shelter to ask about it being brought up there. They were told no. So then it went to Chatter page looking for somebody else to take that cat and bottle feed the cat. The reason I work on the Warren County Lost and Found page. I go up there to check, because if he answers the phone, he might not have been there that day. It might have come in. I check the dogs to see if it's one on my page to get it back home to the owner.
On the shelter.
That way it's not on the shelter. I spent 2 weeks looking for a dog that was attacked in my neighborhood by the owner's other dog. I spent 2 weeks on the ground looking. The day that call came in, Brandy was told not to go out there. The reason Brandy went out there was because it's my address that it was happening on. There was 2 deputies. There were 2 people headed to the hospital. My neighbor's a retired or an active state trooper. The husband to the woman that was attacked is a sheriff from Rutherford County. And it's one of those, whether I call 911 and something like that's going on, that's animal control's job to go out there and find out what's going on, because you had an injured dog running.
Well, 2 injured people that went to the hospital.
So,
Well, I'd stop you, but y'all have had a chance to speak. We do need to look at sometime. I know it's hard to find people, but we somehow or other, we found ourselves in a place where we really don't have anybody that can actually go make those calls like that. I mean, and that's the thing of it. We're in a bad position, really.
Yep.
Because of that. We need somebody, that is a director, supervisor, whatever, that
You have to have an ACO.
will go, yeah.
You have to have skills. You can't just send anyone.
It's gotta be somebody that is qualified and wants to do that. I mean, and that, it can't be just somebody we hire.
Right, but look, I've been a commissioner now for 2.5 years. And this is what we deal with since 22, since I was elected. This is what we're dealing with. Nothing but problems, overcrowdedness, employee issues. This has been going on for 2.5 years. We kicked the can down the road almost okay? This has been a suggestion that was given to me about a year ago, maybe. I think the time has come that we need to give our shelter to a nonprofit 501c3 animal shelter. Let them handle it, give them $100,000, $150,000 a year. It's going to save us money. We're building a new building now. We're very attractive to an entity like that right now. And I think the time is now to give it to a nonprofit and have them take care of it. This is what they do. This is what they do, you know.
And you got one mind, Scott, because that's the whole reason the county, I don't know if you were here, that's the reason the county's in the animal control business. We started out doing that, and then every year it was a hostage situation. We've got to have another $25,000. We've got to have another $10,000. We've got to have this. And of course, when you do this, then you're in that situation.
Yeah.
And you have to give them whatever they ask for.
And the complaints and stuff kept on rolling.
And the complaints was still there. Because, I mean, it's just something nobody wants to address.
Other counties have tried to do this. The White County's struggling with the same
Yeah,
thing.
okay.
Try to find a nonprofit. And this, you know, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's not as simple as which you and I would both be on the same.
I believe it would be a big headache off me
I
if
think-
they were taking
I think
care of
it's
that.
worth looking
That way I
into.
could just tell them.
I
that
think
you
it's
go-
worth looking into.
That you
I
just
think
go
it's worth
call a
looking into.
nonprofit and tell them, but I don't know how the nonprofit would be able to. They're going to have the same budget. It's going to be $250,000 or more because they can't hire nobody to run it.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing about it.
Then we hire someone that's, I don't know. I mean,
Well, but if the county government's got anything to do with it, you're in the same shape we're in right now. And I mean, hey, listen, I don't have the answers. This is nothing but a nightmare. This stuff about we've got help with the inmates now, and then we've got, and Randy brought up something that the one reason I had to stop the inmate drug court sending people down there to work.
I'm sick
So-
of dealing with this. I mean,
What?
we can't make any progress.
Oh,
We can't
listen,
make any
tell me about it.
progress.
Tell me about it. But they seriousness on this. Jackie's got a serious situation when inmates, and we're using inmate labor, which without the inmate labor, we need to go ask for a lot more laborers down there. I'll admit that.
What's the problem with the inmates?
Well,
You cannot have the inmates that get out of jail to come back down there. It's not, Ethan Jackie's policy itself states that if you are a jailer, they cannot have action with people that get out of jail. They can't hang out with them. They can't do that because it's one of those things. You've got inmates working down there. I'll just tell it like it is. Hey, if the inmates just got out of jail and they bring something back down there and they plant it for the inmate that's coming in, then it winds up back in their jail. What's the liability to us? And so that's the reason this thing had to be implemented.
Yeah, one of the problems we had before was folks working down there weren't making any money. Well, because there's 6 people working. If you can bring inmates in and do some of the labor, then the people that are working, their pay can come up, which we
Yeah.
did that.
That's exactly
You
what
know,
we did.
I don't know what the answer is either.
I tell you what
Keep
the
trying.
answer is, spay and neuter.
I want to follow up.
In the future, this is gonna be this way for a long time, no matter what we do, this is gonna be this way.
I want to follow up with what Scott was talking about. What counties have done this?
I think White County is one of them.
They've
Even
tried
if
to
it
get-
was-
They tried, but they haven't got anybody to take it yet.
And the Humane Society, they have their budget. They tried to get with the Humane Society, and the Humane Society made them an offer that was way above what they're currently spending. So that kind of, I don't know if they're still working on that conversation. At one point, that conversation had stopped. Then it kind of started up again. I don't know exactly where it's not happened yet.
But that was in White County with the Humane Society.
Yeah, that's just an example because I know Dean Wayne and Terry, they speak some, and I know some folks up there.
And
That's one of the
I
struggles.
just thought it'd be worth our time, when we're doing research to reach out to other counties to see whether, that way and we know
Mhm.
whether it's a good idea or if we need, not.
Right.
So is White County the only place that you guys can think of where that's happened? Where
No, I know he had
That's all.
county executive there and talked to others, and they were trying to work things out, and they were having their struggles. And I don't even know what their actual budget is for their animal control, but whatever Humane Society offered them was way out of the realm of where they were at.
I just feel like this way we can do our own research. That way,
Right.
we don't want to just knock it. We want to know, if it's something that can be done or not. I mean, especially because Scott's interested in it. And I think
Yeah.
it's worth the time to, to look into his thoughts.
Something else I might suggest too is if you're gonna let volunteers go to the shelter, maybe you need to have a volunteer manager, not a paid person, that makes sure the volunteers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to be doing it, going on more of a regular schedule. If there's
That's
issues-
another thing. Everybody just shows up whenever, and I've been down there a lot of times when the volunteers were just sitting in the thing. Someone's supposed to be doing community service, and they're on the phone.
Well, right, that's why if you had a volunteer person
I
that was
understand.
managing your volunteers, that could be the liaison between the county folks
Yeah.
and the volunteers and saying, volunteer, you can't do that. County person, you might approach it a different way to keep it copacetic. There's a lot of people that want to volunteer, but they just don't. It's just kind of not that well organized. I did the same thing when I lived in Kentucky for the really small animal control. I went in and volunteered as the volunteer manager, and I got a program set up. I had a contract that they had to sign, and there were times when they could work and times when they couldn't work. They weren't allowed to be around the euthanasia part of it. It's just volunteering with the animals and whatever.
I think
Whether
that's a really good thing.
Taking a dog to the vet that needs to go to the vet, or driving the dog to Chattanooga or whatever. There's a lot of free help available. It just needs to be managed. It's hard for someone in this animal shelter to manage that and all the other stuff. So that's my 10 cents problem.
I think that's a good idea.
How would we get that started?
Well, it depends on if they're gonna have volunteers or not, because they haven't, all the volunteers have to fill out a piece of paper. It goes up here, it gets notarized, and then it's taken back. So there's a list. They can fill out availability. Like, at one point, I was pet sitting. So when I was done pet sitting, I'm in town, I come over, go through to check and see if there was any kittens or any of the animals that needed to be checked on. Because like the inmates would go, hey, can you look at this? Like they brought a dog in, he's white, but his skin was blood red. So it's one of those, you have to have working animal knowledge. And it's like if they have some of the community service workers, some people do not know how to walk a dog. They've got the poor dogs tightened up and
Hurting them more than helping.
But I think volunteers, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Going back to a while ago, I was talking about volunteers with Saturday. While we may not be open to the public, I feel like volunteers are more likely to come help on Saturdays. Because I know previously when I went down there to collect kennels with Blaine, I'm pretty sure we've done that on Saturdays in the past because, we're at work. So I would like to, whatever we get organized, to allow volunteers to come on Saturdays, especially to give them that interaction.
So how many employees, volunteers, whatever,
But I did have that.
would be needed down there
Well,
To do the
67
job.
dogs, that's a lot of dogs.
to do the job, like with 67 dogs? How many would we need?
if you had 4 or 5 volunteers, because right now the dogs get brought out of the kennel, their kennel gets cleaned, and that's
Their only free time.
That's
That's
the only time they're out walk. And Jeff, the last post on the newspaper thing was he's researched that dogs being hemmed up for 24/7 is gonna make anybody start
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Oh, there's no question.
It's like,
It's the worst place for any dog.
That's why we had more people that were scheduled so that the staff can plan their cleaning with their inmates. The volunteers take the dog out, play with it for a while. It doesn't have to go back right away.
and you can set up specific, like, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for volunteers to come on such and such days to walk the dogs,
Yeah.
to help.
I
That
know.
way they have an option.
But in my opinion, volunteers are not as dependable.
That's why you gotta have a great number of.
Well, the
Yeah.
volunteer liaison or whatever would have to be at the center of the volunteer. I mean, they would have the connections.
I mean, if we're gonna do, if the county is gonna do this, okay, we've got to have the personnel there to do the job right. We have to. And if we have to pay them 5 or 6 employees, not counting the supervisor, to do that job and to do it right with excellence, then, I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, I think a volunteer liaison would be good. And your new hires, are they certified?
No, we did. I didn't have nothing in Brandy was certified when I hired Brandy.
Let me see.
I
I'm animal control officer.
There's nothing that says in the law that they have to be certified.
was just asking.
Now, all of them will, I think both of them will take us.
Yeah, that's where I one of them's taking it.
Shelby's chasing. She's already started. Yeah, because I know she got in jail pretty quick. I know how she can get.
How she can be.
Okay, so Shelby's looking into
Yeah,
that.
no, she's started taking the class. It's online. It's online class. All you have to take, and then you become certified.
Well, I showed it was brought up earlier by the committee, so I just thought it would be a good.
Because I mean, by the state law, you don't have to be AOC to actually do the job.
I don't know what to say about the volunteer thing. Is that something we need to look at for next?
Sure, this adoption that we talked about. You say every time, every year they need more money, you can't just lead with a vote, this is how much you're getting every year. You think they're
Oh, you're talking about with the nonprofit.
nonprofit, yeah, nonprofit.
The problem you get into once you get out of it,
Yeah.
and it's all theirs,
Yeah.
you've got to start back over. So who's going to take it over when you don't want to pay what they say you got to have?
Like what happened at the fairgrounds though.
And you're still going,
walk away from it. If you don't give in to what
Yeah.
they want.
and you're still going to have these issues. The animals are still going to be an issue because that's just not going to solve your issue out in the public. Some people's not going to be happy with what they have to do with animals or what has to happen. They're just not going to be happy.
Nobody.
They ain't nobody happy. This is one situation where nobody here is going to be happy.
I'm going to make a motion that we call surrounding counties and see who has done the 501c3 route and see how it's working out, see how they're doing, and go from there. I think it's worth looking into. I'm sorry.
I don't care to look into it. I know DeKalb County's not. I know Coffee County's not.
What about Cannon County?
Canton, do they have one? They don't have animal control.
They have animal
They
control.
do not.
They don't.
County is.
And that's one thing the county commission can do. Y'all can end animal control. You can end it. Counties do not have to have it. It's been such a thing in Warren County that we can't please the animal people. We can't please the general public. So it may be time for the county to get out of
If that's an option,
it. It is a option, 100%.
Go in and euthanize everybody because that's your only option actually to place all those dogs to euthanize all of them. Those dogs that have been there over 550 days, they're not going to go to rescue just like that.
No.
They're not going to do it.
no.
So if that's what you're going to do, then euthanize everybody, sell your building to somebody else.
Well, that wouldn't have to be what has to happen. You could fan it out and say that as we get these animals taken care of,
Not taking.
we're not taking anything else in. We're actually
Rescue
done from
otherwise.
that point on.
I'm pretty sure Canyon County is in a bad way though.
No, they're in a very bad
Yeah.
way.
Is that right?
Yep.
You think it's bad now, we didn't have what we're doing.
I understand, but we can't
And
get
you
nothing.
have animals, so you're going to have emotion. I'm sorry, I'm a girl. I can't help but feel emotional about an animal that's been sitting in a cage for
I know it, but we
No.
can't even put any rules in place on anything. We can't even agree on anything. We can't even agree on things that actually get us in serious trouble. I mean, Brandy's really tore up about the inmates coming down there. I don't even have a volunteer form for some of them that's come back. They've not even filled one out in my office. So you know what that is to the county, for my part? A liability.
Yeah.
If they get hurt down there, we're in trouble.
Well, even with your volunteer forms, on the volunteer forms, it states any and all risk are yours.
I don't have that. Do you understand that? On the inmates that left down there, I don't have
They
that.
didn't fill one out.
They didn't even fill one out, and they're still going down there.
And nobody asked them.
I don't have to ask you to fill one out. You know if you're a volunteer, you're supposed to fill one out, right?
Well, at one point they had a volunteer sign-in thing, and that's not there. But just as hey, if I came to your office and I asked you a question,
I'll tell you right now, we hand them out by the, I don't know, we
I
probably
send
get,
people to you.
they ain't no telling how
I
many
tell
we hand
people,
out.
go volunteer.
But we do not have that form on those inmates that work down there. We do not have.
I mean, I get that. I get that. That makes sense to me.
So
That's-
what is it? And from my position as elected official, I'm in a big liability if they come down there and get hurt doing anything down there because we're supposed to have that paperwork on everybody.
Absolutely.
That's just a rule you have to follow. But we can't even get along on that rule. We can't even get along on that one.
Who's stopping that? Why?
I stop the volunteers, and I have the authority to stop the volunteers. I have the authority to set the hours. I call Robert and I ask him because this thing's out of control. When we can't even follow simple rules, I did not go down there for Brandy to quit her job. I went down there to tell her she had to follow this rule. And you see what the outburst has been here tonight.
Well, the outburst of her getting upset over following that rule also came along with some other things.
I understand that, but you got to, when I tell you, I've told her multiple times that had to happen, and it didn't happen. Long as I'm sitting in that office in there, when I tell you something's got to happen because of liability reasons, it's got to happen, or I will take action. I promise you that.
Hey, Terry, I just want to make sure I understand. You mean no more volunteer? You
Right now, I've not got any volunteers going down there because Brandy told me I did not know drug court was sending people down there too. They're not coming to my office. They've got their own forms.
So can we open this back up to volunteers?
I think we need to open this back up, but I can tell you another thing I can't have. I can't have anybody that's over here getting mad and getting on Facebook. Ronnie sent me a text. When you hate an employee down there, just look at it from this standpoint. If you hate an employee down there and you go down there and volunteer, I'm not saying anybody's doing anything. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But,
I didn't post names.
all right, but when you do that, can we have our employees and them down there, they're going to find everything they can that's wrong. 100%. And some things may have been helped, may not can. I'm not taking up for either side on this thing. But you can't have them down there when you've got a conflict between the people working down there and you volunteer. You can't have that. Or I'm going to wind up. I'm going to wind up in the law down there.
Can we find someone that could be like this volunteer
I think that's a possibility.
liaison that may be neutral?
Now, I think that's a real possibility that we can
Because
get this.
I want to see a
But there's
volunteer.
going to have to be some kind of rules in place there
Absolutely.
about what you're doing.
Yeah.
It just can't be turned loose.
No.
That, you know, I've been down there quite a bit since all this stuff's took place. And I've been down there numerous times when the volunteers were sitting at the desk and they're on their phone. And they're getting papers signed. They're supposed to be working down there. Well, I'm sorry. I'm the type of guy, if you're supposed to be working, you're supposed to be working. You're not going down there just to get your hours in.
That's
Yeah,
your community
That's a community
service.
service too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's happened. Y'all all know it's happened a lot.
I haven't been there, but I don't doubt that. I used to work at a large animal
Yeah.
shelter.
So
in
I
charge
think
of
it's a
community
possibility.
service,
But till the turmoil gets settled down, I said we're going to have to stop this thing and make sure that our inmates are not coming back down there. I've showed it the current inmates that are working down there, and we're fixing to get some more new ones here. The other one gets out.
No.
Yeah, but I mean she don't get out till actually the 20th.
Right, the one we've got
The
now,
one you got
out
now.
the 20th, and we've got 2 new inmates.
Got 2 new inmates coming.
Been coming on Monday.
And I understand because they would have still been in jail. This program is, and it's not all about, well, we need to hire the people. You're doing a good thing here. These inmates would still, the one that Brandy's got that's been down there, she'd still be in jail. If she hadn't got to go to the shelter, she'd still been in jail because you're getting 2 for 1. Every day she worked, she got 1 day off her sentence. She got a reduction. So it's a benefit to her. So she wouldn't even been out of jail to that point. So we're just trying to make these rules to where everybody can get along and make it as safe as we can. You still have people are in jail for a reason. They don't put people in jail just because they want to. They have to follow the rules.
Well, I know he made a motion, and the reason I wanted to get back to that is because I was wanting to make another motion. So,
Okay.
You're piling up now.
yeah, before I forget my motion.
What was your-
To, call surrounding counties and see if any of them have gone with the 501c3 and how it's been working out, and if there's any complaints,
For who to call?
I will. I'm willing to call.
I don't even know if that was motion, but
I'm not sure that it does,
Yeah.
but I think it made one.
yeah, if you're gonna do it.
Do it
If
on
you don't need a motion, I'll resend it.
I don't think we do.
No, he,
That's just information.
I'm kind of like when I called before about all this stuff.
Hey, listen, Scott,
Gotcha.
You'll be able to do that, no problem.
hey, Scott, if you get a hold of a county that's done that, and you can't get them to talk to you, call me and I'll call the county executive of that county and
Thank you.
I'll speak to him.
Thank you.
I'll be glad, I'm willing to look into anything to try to get this, what we've got going on straightened out.
This is crazy.
Well, since we're not doing that, I don't think mine probably needs a motion either, but I would like for us to look in the next month, while everything kind of calms down, on creating a volunteer liaison for coordinating volunteers at the shelter.
And I'm fine with that,
But,
but we've got to come up with some way to schedule this thing. and
Yes,
get everything
yes.
And there has to be certain standards. I mean, whenever we had the change up when Brandy came on board, she jumped in there and done a wonderful job and continued to do a wonderful job. But people were coming down there, volunteers that were not inmates or anything. They were volunteers, and they were taking pictures of poop in the kennels. I'm sorry, dogs poop. They just got through spraying that out. You can't sit there. It's not a nursing home. We can't do that. There's poop in them kennels right now as we're sitting here.
Yeah.
And they're going to clean them out in the morning. But they go through taking a bunch of pictures, look at the terrible shape of the shelters. And Brandy calls me, tore all to pieces. Do I have the ability to tell them they can't come back? Absolutely do it. She did. Because they were only down there to start trouble. They didn't care anything about the dogs. So you got to be real careful. I'm not saying all volunteers are that way, but how you think
We won't want
them out?
volunteers.
You got to be real careful is what I'm saying. We probably need that liaison person that can really watch that, situation, but it's just chaos. It's
Well,
chaos.
I don't know why all of us don't do what I did after about 3 months of being a commissioner. I stopped paying attention to Facebook because I was on this committee and I was told it was the best or worst, depending on how you looked at it. And I found out pretty quick that they was going to run me and my wife down the road, and my wife hadn't even been to the kennel at that point. But I just stopped paying attention to it. Now I messaged you because I asked a question, because I do answer people on Facebook. Even when they're ranting, sometimes I'll come on there because they'll mention my name, and I ain't going to run from it. I'll answer it if I know the answer, but if I don't, I'll try to get the answer. But the rest of it, I'm not getting into the drama because I got things I can worry about besides that. The thing of it is, a lot of people are animal lovers, and there's a lot of emotions tied to it. And we all are our own worst enemies a lot of times because we want what's best for the animals, but we get mad at each other and tear each other up trying to do it.
I'd be happy to help you put together like the volunteer liaison that I put together. You don't have to pick me. I'm just saying I can help you put together how I had it. They had to come into the shelter. They had to fill out the form for you. They come into the shelter. They have to go through a training process. They have to sign another document that says they're going to go through the process and that they're not going to create any drama. And if they create drama, then the shelter person would contact the liaison, and the liaison's going to contact them and have a conversation. If they can't iron it out, the volunteer's gone. It's that simple. And you want to try to schedule it so your people are there when they need to be there the most.
Can you bring us some of that
Yeah.
information next month?
Yeah.
We'd be glad.
I'll work on some of the documents that I used to have. I don't think I still have them, but I can recreate the process steps that I made people go through.
Thank
Or if you
you.
find them before the next meeting, you feel free to bring them to the office.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Be
We
sure
don't
that
have to
happens.
necessarily wait for another month.
Yeah. I'll see what I can find.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that
thank
and for
you
the
very much.
recommendation as well.
Thank you.
I have one thing
Yeah.
separate than this, but the spay and neuter grant that I signed up for last year, where they sent the email through. Have we been able to do anything with that?
It's done.
We just submitted it.
You did.
Yes.
It's also, they're done
Okay.
with their thing, man.
Thank you. I knew you said that y'all would handle that, and I just wanted to follow up.
That grant, only seldom does it open up to government run.
Mhm.
It's usually nonprofits, and every now and then they'll, of course, this year they did.
Yeah.
So it's all been filled out. It's all on its way.
Emily finished it today.
Perfect.
So she's got that done. Hopefully we'll get it. And we've done it to where we can do seniors and lower income people. Because we had to put some criteria in there
Mhm.
of just, you had to narrow it down some rather than we're just gonna do the whole blanket.
Well, I just know when we first started the spay and neuter donation, and it was a big hit, and Terry was, targeting the animals at the shelter. I really wanted to expand that base, because I know Blaine is so passionate about spay and neuter, and especially, it's no lie. I mean, he's all about an ordinance for it. But I wanted to see
Well, there's
if
no
we.
doubt that is the answer to the problem. It's getting everybody to do it and how it all works.
But I thought if we could
If everybody did it, we wouldn't
get
have
some
this conversation.
money to help, I'm really thankful that you guys were able to finish that out for me.
Is that on
Yeah.
like a voucher type thing where
It'll be a $5,000 grant.
Yeah, that's the maximum.
That's the maximum. We
So
fill out for 5,000 to
so
actually pay
Mr.
you.
Smith says, hey, I'm looking to get my dog altered, and they contact you and you give them a voucher, like a piece of paper, set up an appointment that they have to go
It
to?
may, now, as far as the logistics of it, I'm not going to answer because some grants are different ways. Some of them we have to actually pay for it and then we send it in and they reimburse us. So I'm not.
That's the way I read it. I mean, I
and
could be
that may-
wrong. but
That may
that's
be the
I
way it
read
is, but I've not delved into it. We were worried about getting the application filled
Yeah,
out.
But I didn't realize it was only a $5,000 cap. I thought, okay.
That's the max we can apply for.
But that's a lot
That's
of
a lot.
dogs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, yeah.
Especially if they use it.
The
Wow.
Google Foundation has something going on for pets and adoption for pets. Harbor Freight also has a program that I told previous staff about, that there's local businesses that do have these programs that some people have not looked into.
Looked into.
Are we, is it open to government? Like,
I didn't go and follow through the thing because I went up and they were doing donations for the shelter.
Yeah.
And I was in there I had bought tools to
Mhm.
take down to the shelter because putting kennels together with a crescent wrench in the sun is not fun. But I asked them if they had any programs that do donations for like the shelter, and they said to go on the Harbor Freight website. And they have.
And you have to really be careful because even this is one of the first times it's been open to the government. It's usually 501c3s is all that can get it. I mean, and they call them shelters
Sure,
too.
right.
Rescues, all
Yeah.
Humane
Yeah.
Society, all those folks.
The counties aren't, yeah,
2020
the
was the last
government
time
ones
this
are left
opened
out
up.
of a lot.
Yeah, we're not available because we have looked at others.
when
we
will
were
we
not.
hear back? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I know it will do May
It's ready.
15th, and
When is it due? When is the due date to have it sent in?
May 16th.
May 16th.
it's my bad. I misspoke. I thought it was the 15th.
Put it in the paper.
It was the middle of May, and so that's why I sent it on, because I was like, there's some urgency. I didn't know what all it would take. Thank you. That was my big thing for the meeting, so.
Hopefully we'll hear from
We'll
it.
probably
Hopefully
hear,
we'll
I would assume, the way a lot of these grants work when the timing is like this,
Or 2 months.
these state departments have certain amounts of money that the government, the state, General Assembly gives them for certain things.
Mhm.
If they have money left over before the fiscal year ends, they gotta find a way to spend it. Which if they don't have a whole lot for this particular program of 501c3s that have sent that in, then they'll open it up to county
Mhm.
or municipalities, governments,
Mhm.
which is probably why it's been added this year. So I say that to say this, more than likely, they have to get that money, at least, allocated before July. So I would suspect we'll hear back pretty quick.
Well, I kind of thought, I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
kind of thought that it was open previously because I contacted them over a year ago.
Yeah, no,
And
I
they
looked at
told
this-
me that
we
the-
brought it up the once before. We looked into that and it was not open. We called just through the Department of Agriculture. We
Yeah.
called and it was not open to.
Last
To
year.
go.
Yeah, because that's how I ended up getting on the email list. I was like, remember us for the next year. So that's what it was. It wasn't open to
Well,
the
see, we had
government.
actually had Heath over there because he's got some really good contacts at the Department of back.
We
The
reached
last
out.
time it opened up to counties, to governments.
Okay.
That's the last time actually.
Well,
Which
maybe-
COVID made it.
Nobody else will apply for it.
They're probably not gonna open it up to everybody unless they've got a pretty big bucket of money
Yeah.
that they're sitting on that they've got to get rid of. And it's only allocated for certain things. They can't just put it on cornfields or whatever agriculture thing they're doing. If that's set aside by the General Assembly and don't get eaten, get snatched up before the time's out, they'll dump it. They'll throw it at everybody. So I would say we hear back pretty quick.
Good deal. Thank you
I,
for doing that.
I don't mean to stop the discussion because we can continue after we adjourn, but his battery's got to die. So we can continue the discussion. I love all of y'all by just so I'll go ahead and say that. I know we're all trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and you gotta get out of here, Blaine. You got a kindergarten graduation.
Well, yeah, but his battery's got to
Well, I
die.
make a motion to, we didn't skip anything, did we?
I didn't think the meeting was gonna last.
To adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Like I said, we can stay.